If you really want to get a feel for the health of the economy, you got to look past the noisy headlines, right? The real story, the actual data, is hiding in plain sight. It's in the performance of the huge companies that basically power our world. And today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're taking the economy's pulse by looking at their results.
It's a great question, isn't it? We hear one thing on the news, maybe that things are slow, but then we look around, we see what's happening in stores, with the tech we use, in our own lives, and it tells a different story. Well, it turns out one of the best ways to get a clear, data-driven answer is to just look at what companies are reporting. Their earnings tell us exactly what's happening on the ground.
Okay, so here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at two totally different economic stories. First, we'll dive into the world of beauty and consumer spending with Ulta. Then, we're going to pivot to the absolute explosion in tech with Micron. And stick around, because at the end, I'm going to show you exactly where you can find all this info for yourself.
To really get the full picture of the economy, you can't just look at one little piece of it. It's like a giant puzzle. So today, we're going to examine two massive companies that tell two very different but equally important stories about where our economy really stands right now. So let's meet our contenders. In one corner, we have Ulta Beauty. They're the biggest beauty retailer in the US, which gives us an incredible window into how the everyday consumer is feeling and spending. And in the other corner, we've got Micron Technology, a titan in memory and storage. I'm talking about the literal building blocks of this whole AI revolution.
And here's the key thing to grasp, the contrast. It's fascinating. Ulta represents the steady, consistent power of you and me, the consumer. It's driven by physical stores and this really sustained, reliable growth. Micron, on the other hand, is all about that explosive, mind-bending growth of core technology, and it's being fueled by the insane demand for artificial intelligence. These are two completely different engines driving the economy forward.
All right, first up, let's head to the mall. Figuratively speaking, of course. We're digging into Ulta's latest results to see just how healthy consumer spending really is. Are people tightening their belts, or are they still out there treating themselves? Let's find out.
And wow, the answer's pretty clear. Ulta raked in net sales of $12.4 billion. That's a nearly 10% jump from the year before. That tells you loud and clear that despite all the chatter about economic anxiety, people are absolutely still spending money on beauty.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. How did they get that growth? Well, comparable sales, that's a fancy term for sales at stores that have been open for at least a year, were up over 5%. And check this out. It wasn't just because of higher prices. It was a combo of more people coming through the doors and people spending more money each time they shopped. More visits and bigger purchases per visit. That is a very strong signal.
So where's all that money going? This chart breaks it down perfectly. Cosmetics are still the king, making up almost 40% of sales. But look at that. Skincare, hair care, fragrances, they're all major players. It's a really well-rounded picture of just how strong consumer demand is across the entire beauty space. And get this isn't just an online shopping spree. Take a look at the steady climb in their number of physical stores. In an age where we constantly hear that retail stores are dying, Ulta is consistently opening new ones year after year. That shows some serious long-term confidence in their brick-and-mortar strategy, and more importantly, in the strength of the consumer.
All right, you ready to shift gears? Because we are going from the steady, reliable rhythm of retail to the light-speed explosion happening in the tech world. We're talking about the semiconductor industry, which is basically riding the massive tidal wave of the AI gold rush.
Okay, so if Ulta's growth was a strong, steady drumbeat, Micron's growth is a sonic boom. Just look at these numbers for a second. In the second quarter of last year, they brought in about $8 billion in revenue. This year, same quarter, almost $24 billion. That is just staggering.
And seeing it laid out like this as a bar chart really makes the scale of that jump hit home. It's not just a little bit of growth. They nearly tripled their revenue in a single year. This isn't just a company doing well. This is a company sitting at the absolute epicenter of a massive technological shift.
So why is this happening? Here it is, straight from the CEO. The global demand for AI is creating this bottomless appetite for the high-performance memory chips that Micron makes. Their products aren't just parts anymore. They are, like he says, a strategic asset. They're essential.
And if you thought that $24 billion quarter was a big deal, hold on. This isn't some one-time spike. Their own forecast for the next quarter is a projected $33.5 billion. The wave they are on is not only huge, it's actually getting bigger and faster.
So here we are.
We've got these two incredible, but very different, stories of economic strength. But you know what the best part is? None of this is some big secret. This is all public information, and you can get your hands on it just as easily as I did. So, what does this all mean when you put it together? Well, you see an economy that seems to be firing on multiple cylinders. On one hand, you have the steady, resilient Main Street consumer, shown by Ulta's strong performance. And on the other, you have the world-changing explosive growth of tech, shown by Micron. Both are showing incredible strength in their own way.
So where do you find all this great data? Easy. Every single publicly traded company has a section on its website called Investor Relations. Think of it as their official channel for sharing all their financial results and business updates directly with the public. It's designed to be totally transparent.
And once you get to that page, these are the golden documents you want to look for. The earnings reports give you the raw numbers. The investor presentations usually have awesome charts that make it easy to understand. And the conference call transcripts. They let you read exactly what the top execs told Wall Street analysts. It's the most direct way to understand how a company is really doing.
And all of this leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to chew on. We've seen the incredible power of both the steady, everyday consumer and the explosive AI boom. So, looking ahead, which of these two massive forces do you think will be the more dominant driver of our economy over the next 5 years? It's definitely something to think about.